Macbeth is one of Shakespeare's most violent and gruesome plays. Act 1, Scene 1 sets that scene very well. Starting off in a field much like this, the three witches sit and plot their evil plans for the great warrior Macbeth. So what kind of atmosphere does Shakespeare create with the weather in this scene? Well, since the weather is stormy, he's suggesting a number of things to the audience. Storms cannot be predicted and they can never be controlled. Two characteristics that we will find in our protagonist Macbeth. Thunder creates a booming sound that we associate with anger, and lightning is quick and shocking and is often connected with terror. So even before we start to consider who is in the scene or what they're saying, Shakespeare has already created a terrifying atmosphere. And this atmosphere is accentuated by the presence of the witches. Well, what about the witches? Nowadays, we are pretty much desensitized to witches. We see them everywhere. Books, on TV, old movies, and even in the music business. But in Shakespeare's times, things were very different. The public were very superstitious, and his audience would have regarded the witches as being a real threat. For this reason, they would both have feared and disliked them. Accordingly, their very presence at the beginning of the play heightens the sense of foreboding of things to come. So, before anything has been said, and before the audience even knows what is going on, they're engaged. Shakespeare hooks his audience. Once the witches start speaking, our curiosity peaks. The first line, "When shall we three meet again?" in thunder, lightning, gore and rain, is spoken by the first witch. The fact that the three witches are already planning to meet again causes us to be very suspicious. Why are they discussing meeting again? What are they plotting? What can we deduce from the fact that the first witch suggests that their meeting take place in thunder, lightning or in rain? We've already discussed the connotations of thunder and lightning, but what emotions do we connect to rain? Raindrops are identical to tears, and so our immediate thought is that rain symbolises sadness. Are the witches planning to meet after a sad event? At the moment we don't know, but we get an indication that they're up to something sinister. As the scene continues, we learn more of what the three are up to. The witches intend to meet with a man called Macbeth after the hurdy-burdy's done, and when the battle's lost and won. We are confused, but it is clear that the witches wish to meet again, after a battle ends, again setting the tone for events to come. The witches end their meeting with an extremely well-known chant, "Fair is foul and foul is fair." This paradox confuses the audience, and essentially means what's good is bad and what's bad is good. This has a number of interpretations. On the one hand, witches are exclaiming that nothing is what it seems and that appearances can be deceiving. This is demonstrated through Macbeth's hallucinations and Lady Macbeth's inability to distinguish between reality and the spirits. The quote may also reflect the idea that people's perceptions of what they do are subjective, and what may be foul to one may in fact be fair to another. A principle which makes sense when we watch Macbeth's murderous behaviour as the play unfolds. Also worth noting, at this point, is that the overall effect of what the witches say is made eerier by the way in which it is said. They speak in rhyming couplets. This contrasts with other characters that speak with blank verse, indicating that Shakespeare deliberately wished to set aside these witches as something different from the rest of the play's characters. So, just to recap the reasons why the first scene is so important in Macbeth. Firstly, the weather. It sets the scene and helps to foreshadow later events in the play. Secondly, it is essential to recognise the contextual relevance of witches and to understand how they would have been perceived by a Shakespearean audience. Finally, Shakespeare deliberately distinguishes the language of the witches so that it is confusing, oblique and damning.